I'm not going to let go. We're going to call the police and deal with this the right way.
That's not
Okay?
the right way to just take someone.
An employee's attempt to stop a shoplifter at a Rite Aid in Hillsboro, Oregon, devolved into a brawl. In the spring of 2017, a video of the altercation was captured by teenager Cody Humans, and the clip went viral. It showed a security guard engaged in a tug-of-war with 26-year-old Sarah Michelle Jarvis, who'd been caught red-handed stealing 2 items from the pharmacy chain. Both the guard and Jarvis started pulling on the latter's purse. During the altercation, Jarvis told the man, "You just hurt me in the parking lot," referencing an earlier moment when the guard brought her back inside after detecting the theft. When an employee announced that the police were on their way, Jarvis became aggressive. She kicked the guard and tried to knee him in the groin. The man told her, "I'm going to take you down for that now," and then wrestled her to the floor, with the impact knocking off Jarvis's glasses. She struggled and tried to get back to her feet, with the guard repeatedly yelling at her, "Ma'am, stop it," and taking her down several more times. All the while, she continued clinging to her purse. Once she rose, and as they were surrounded by other shoppers and staff, Jarvis began screaming hysterically at the man to let her go. Before she started swinging punches at his head, he managed to avoid the strikes, and the tug-of-war resumed. Jarvis finally relinquished control of her purse to the guard. Just as police officers entered the store, they handcuffed her and took her into custody for the theft. No charges reported against the guard in the immediate aftermath. Number 6. Gulriz Ghahraman. Gulriz Ghahraman made history as the first refugee to be selected to New Zealand's parliament, and she was a member of the House of Representatives for the Green Party from 2017 until her resignation amidst shoplifting allegations in early 2024. On December the 23rd of the previous year, Ghahraman was caught on CCTV shoplifting from Auckland's Scotty's Boutique in Ponsonby. As the police were investigating the first incident, a second shoplifting allegation from Scotty's Boutique against Ghahraman emerged. On January the 15th of 2024, the MP returned from an overseas trip, which coincided with the police announcing that they were investigating a third shoplifting allegation involving Ghahraman at the Wellington-based boutique store Creative Works, dating to October 2023. The MP, who was in her early 40s at the time, resigned the following day. Ghahraman had arrived in New Zealand with her parents from Iran in the early 1990s. Prior to her political career, she worked as a lawyer for the United Nations and was part of both the defense and prosecution teams with the tribunals in Rwanda, Cambodia, and The Hague. In a statement following her resignation, Ghahraman detailed that a mental health evaluation had found her behavior was not rational in any way due to an extreme stress response relating to previously unrecognized trauma. She noted that she wasn't trying to make excuses for her actions, but merely explaining them, adding, "I fell short. I'm sorry." As of late February of 2024, she faced a fourth shoplifting charge in relation to the theft of a cardigan from a standard issue in the Newmarket suburb of Auckland. The cumulative value of the items the disgraced MP had pilfered was estimated at over $10,000. In March of 2024, she pleaded guilty to all 4 charges, and her sentencing was scheduled for June. Number 5. Carlos Vital's visitor. When Mexican man Carlos Vital returned to his Playa del Carmen home in the spring of 2017, he caught a thief red-handed as he was rifling through his belongings. Vital, who worked as a bartender in the city, broadcast the ensuing confrontation on Facebook Live. He struck the unnamed home invader repeatedly, cursed him out, and threatened to kill him. The man didn't fight back throughout the altercation and pleaded with Vital to stop. He was already wearing the homeowner's shorts and had stolen several banknotes from his wallet. Vital ordered the thief to take the shorts off. The man complied and also briefly lowered his underwear, exposing his privates to show that he wasn't hiding anything. The clip, which subsequently went viral, ended with local police taking the dazed and battered thief into custody. Many of the netizens reacting to the footage wrote that the man had gotten what he deserved. Commenting on the footage, Vital thanked users for their support, adding, "Although violence is not the most sensible alternative, sometimes the important thing is to give a lesson to those who are asking for it." Number 4. Lo Yu Ming. While holidaying in Bangkok, a group of Singaporean teens went to the Platinum Fashion Mall on June the 16th of 2016. Two teenage girls, one of whom was named as 18-year-old Lo Yu Min, split from their two male companions and went shopping by themselves, while the attendant at a store called My Fayday went to use the restroom. Lo and her friend stole two spaghetti strap tops and fled. They were caught in the act by CCTV, and the shop attendant sent out photos of them to chat groups with about 1,000 retailers in the Thai capital. The teens and their friends then went to Ma Boon Krong, another mall, located a little over a mile from the scene of the crime. The chat groups then received an alert that they'd been spotted at the second mall. The My Fayday shop attendant and a friend, identified by his last name as Tom, went to Ma Boon Krong and confronted the teenage thieves. They denied any wrongdoing, but their bags were searched and the missing items were found. The thieving duo agreed to follow the My Fayday worker back to the Platinum Fashion Mall. They were then taken to the security office and asked to surrender their passports. The matter was ultimately settled with the shop attendant agreeing not to alert the police if the girls in turn bought the entire stock of 9 identical pieces of the spaghetti strap top they'd stolen and cover the workers' transport costs. After both parties agreed to resolve the situation without involving the authorities, photos were taken of Lo and her friend for a wall of shame, featuring shoplifters banned from the mall. The duo and their male companions were captured smiling while posing with the stolen merchandise. Tom later told a media outlet they looked like they were just having fun, happily taking photos all the way, adding, "We told them that it was a serious matter and it wasn't fun and games." Tom noted that the duo appeared to show no remorse for their crime. In the aftermath, he and the My Fayday worker decided to post the photos online. The images triggered a great deal of outrage, resulting in shaming and condemnation from Thai and Singaporean citizens. Lo subsequently took responsibility for her behavior, telling a media outlet, "It was so stupid of us to do what we did, and we truly feel remorseful for appearing as if we didn't treat the situation seriously." Number 3. Ashley Cheatham. Leading up to August of 2023, an unnamed Oklahoma man met Ashley Cheatham online, after which she became his girlfriend and moved in with him at his Stillwater home. On August 22nd, the man walked into the Stillwater Police Department in a state of distress. While Cheatham was sleeping one night, he'd searched her phone and found explicit photos and videos of his young daughter on the device. The disturbing material reportedly showed 19-year-old Cheatham abusing the daughter. When officers went to the address, Cheatham answered the door not wearing any pants. She was immediately placed under arrest and handcuffed, and afterwards, officers gave her a blanket to cover herself. When the charges were laid out, Cheatham expressed bewilderment and seemingly began hyperventilating. She was taken into custody and formally charged for the abuse, exploitation, and distributing obscene material, as well as for unlawful access to a computer and unlawful possession of a controlled drug. As reported by KOCO, she confessed to the crimes. Her victims were granted a 5-year protection order. It also emerged that prior to the discovery of the abuse, Cheatham had applied for a job as a paraprofessional at Nicoma Park Elementary. The school district noted that a mutual decision was made to terminate the hiring process, maintaining that Cheatham had never worked with any students. Today's topic was requested by Owarumi Desmond 1175 and Kai Meraga 6146. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Natalia Sikorska. On July the 5th of 2017, Polish model Natalia Sikorska was caught red-handed trying to walk out of a Harrods in Knightsbridge, London, with a haul of fashion items. The merchandise, worth nearly £1,000, consisted of a jacket by London-based German designer Markus Lupfer, a pair of cloudy Perlo shoes, a Pinko handbag, and a silver knife. The incident occurred just days after 28-year-old Sikorska had announced on social media that she'd finished studying economics at a college in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and while she was enrolled at the University of Westminster, studying business management and economics. Sikorska admitted the attempted theft during her first court appearance. The model faced a 6-month custodial sentence, but Westminster Magistrate Grant McCrosty opted for a conditional discharge for 12 months. The magistrate justified the decision by stating that Sikorska was a newcomer to the country, that she had a potentially bright future, and that she'd promptly admitted her guilt. Addressing her directly during sentencing in August, McCrosty told her, "You are obviously a woman of considerable talents. You are obviously intelligent." The decision was met with heavy criticism for its leniency, with some describing it as a failure of the justice system. UKIP MEP Gerard Batten noted that law enforcers should be harder on newcomers instead of the opposite, adding, "It's not as if she was shoplifting for a loaf of bread because she's starving." One online critic interpreted the message sent by the decision as, "If you are a female offender, young and beautiful, you can walk away." In the aftermath, Sikorska was interviewed by the Daily Mail and offered a series of explanations for her actions. She claimed that the theft allegations were unfair because she'd never left the store with the items and was actually on her way to a restroom when she was stopped by security. However, Sikorska also said that she'd taken the knife found in her possession from a restaurant to cut the tags off the products, noting, "I'm not going to lie, I might have stolen it if they hadn't caught me before leaving Harrods." The woman offered a number of potential reasons for her shoplifting without committing to one in particular. They included culture shock following her recent return from the US, pressure from society to look good, particularly in her line of work as a model and actress, and her restrictive religious upbringing in a small Polish town. She was grateful to Magistrate McCrosty for his leniency and appreciative of his praise of her intelligence, adding, "He is not bad looking, but he was very serious." If getting caught red-handed isn't bad enough, let's take a look at what happens when people start panicking. We've got when going into panic mode goes wrong coming up for you right after number 1, so stay tuned. Number 1. Incident at Madonna concert. In May of 2024, pop icon Madonna held a free concert on the Brazilian beach of Copacabana in Rio de Janeiro. The event, which was the last show of the celebration tour, was hailed as the biggest concert in the singer's 40-year career, as it was attended by an estimated 1.6 million people. During the concert, a video was captured of a crowd attacking a pickpocket after he was allegedly caught in the act. The Vigilante group carried the man towards a waste container while repeatedly hitting him in the face. The alleged pickpocket was then hoisted in the air. He struggled to hold on to the sides of the container as the others tried to throw him inside, and while a man was repeatedly punching him in the back of the head, the accused thief eventually lost his grip and was thrown headfirst into the container, and before the lid was closed on him, sustained several more blows. As reported by the media, the concert goers involved in the attack were detained by the military police's crowd control squad. It remained unclear if the man they'd brutalized was charged with theft. A Kentucky woman was charged with murder after she allegedly shot and killed her Uber driver because she falsely believed he was abducting her to Mexico. According to law enforcement, 48-year-old Phoebe Copas hailed an Uber driven by 52-year-old Daniel Piedra Garcia to go meet her boyfriend at the Speaking Rock Casino in the Texas border city of El Paso at approximately 2:20 p.m. on June the 16th of 2023. While en route to her destination, Copas reportedly saw signs that said Juarez, Mexico, and thought she was being taken over the border against her will. She then frantically grabbed a handgun and shot Piedra multiple times in the head, causing the vehicle to collide with barriers before coming to a stop on US 54 near Loop 375. The criminal complaint stated that Copas took a picture of the critically wounded driver and sent it to her boyfriend before calling 911. She was later arrested, and investigators determined that there was no evidence to support her claims. Originally, she was accused of aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury, but the charge was amended to murder after Piedra died at a hospital on June the 21st. Copas was booked into the El Paso County Detention Facility on a $1.5 million bond, which was later lowered to a $500,000 split bond. As of the latest updates, she remained free on bond while awaiting trial. Number 8. Isamemon Etute. After Isamemon Etute was charged with murder, his lawyer filed multiple motions for him, most notably one that evolved around the gay panic defense. The 19-year-old responded to a Tinder dating app profile on April the 10th of 2021 and agreed to meet someone only identified as Angie for oral intercourse at her apartment in Blacksburg. Virginia. Not until Etute was questioned by some of his friends did he realize that Angie was actually a 40-year-old man named Jerry Smith. Etute returned to Smith's apartment on May the 31st and determined that Smith was biologically male. Apparently, when Etute confronted Smith, the latter grabbed the former's genitals. Etute subsequently struck Smith in the face. When he saw that Smith reached for a possible weapon under the bed, he struck him several more times. The following day, Smith's lifeless body was found at the apartment. A post-mortem examination revealed that he died of blunt force trauma to the head. The Roanoke Times reported Smith was missing his teeth and that every bone in the victim's face had been broken. Police found a knife between Smith's mattress and box spring. Etute was arrested on June the 2nd on a charge of second-degree murder. He admitted to authorities that he'd hit Smith 5 times and stomped on the victim before hearing bubbling and gurgling coming from Smith. Coincidentally, about a month after the incident, the state passed a bill restricting the use of the so-called gay panic defense, in which a defendant accused of homicide could receive a lesser sentence by saying they panicked after finding out the victim's sexual orientation or gender identity. According to the Roanoke Times, Etute's lawyer Jimmy Turk argued that the ban shouldn't be a factor in the trial since the crimes had already occurred before the bill was signed. The judge later ruled that the new legislation did not apply to the case. In May of 2022, Etute collapsed in tears as the verdict was being read. He was acquitted after the jury believed his self-defense argument. Number 7. Riley Ann Sebach. After allegedly witnessing a hit-and-run crash on the afternoon of October the 23rd of 2019, California man Justin Thompson followed an erratic driver to a gas station in Lake Elsinore and captured her frantic getaway on video. According to Thompson, he was driving near the intersection of Railroad Canyon Road and the 15 freeway when he saw a sedan crash into another vehicle and then leave the scene. Thompson told NBC4 that the distraught driver took off driving at 90 miles per hour. The driver, later identified as 22-year-old Riley Ann Sebach, subsequently pulled into a Chevron gas station parking lot. Thompson followed Sebach and parked his minivan behind her sedan, pinning it into a parking space bordered by vacuum cleaners on one side and a curb on the other. Thompson then called 911. Before authorities arrived, Sebach went through a series of dangerous maneuvers to try and back around Thompson's minivan and over a curb. At one point, the front bumper of Sebach's car was ripped off. Sebach subsequently retrieved the bumper, which she strugglingly wedged into the car's back seat. While again attempting to drive away, she still couldn't, so she cried and begged Thompson to move his car. The man told her to get out of the vehicle and do the right thing. After backing up and moving forward one more time, Sebach was able to escape by reversing toward Thompson's direction, almost hitting him. Reports indicated that there were no reported injuries in connection with the incidents. A week later, Sebach was arrested for hit-and-run driving and was later ordered to participate in drug rehab. Number 6. James Miller. Like Isamemum Etute earlier, Texas man James Miller avoided being convicted of murder and manslaughter after his lawyer used the defense often known as the gay panic law as the reason for killing his neighbor. The incident transpired in September 2015 after 32-year-old Daniel Spencer invited 66-year-old Miller to his East Austin home to drink and play music. According to the Austin American-Statesman, Spencer allegedly grew angry when Miller rejected his intimate advances. Miller testified that Spencer subsequently moved towards him brandishing a glass. He claimed that he stabbed Spencer with a knife twice because he felt that the man was going to hurt him. He noted that Spencer was 37 years younger and 8 inches taller than him. Despite dodging the murder and manslaughter charge, he was found guilty of criminally negligent homicide in April of 2018. Miller was sentenced to 10 years of probation and 6 months in prison. Additionally, he was ordered to complete 100 hours of community service and pay $11,000 in restitution to Spencer's family. Number 5. Eric Bryant. An Illinois man who was accused of cutting off a dead woman's head with a handsaw in the summer of 2020 told police he panicked because the corpse was beginning to decompose. Kimiko Armstrong's headless body was found wrapped in plastic and bedding when police officers conducted a well-being check on July the 23rd at her apartment in the 7400 block of South Chapel Avenue. A well-being check had been prompted after neighbors complained of a very bad smell coming from the home. According to Cook County prosecutors, narcotics were found in the 61-year-old's body, but no obvious trauma was discovered. It was unclear how she died, but the decapitation allegedly took place after her death. While the officers were at the home, 49-year-old Eric Bryant reportedly appeared from the kitchen where Armstrong's head was later found. Bryant ran out of the apartment and evaded capture. A handsaw was found in a bedroom, along with documents, including tax and medical records in Bryant's name. Bryant was arrested days after law enforcement spotted him in an alley. In an interview with detectives, Bryant denied killing Armstrong, but admitted to removing her head after she died and seeking to dispose of the body. He was then held without bail on the charge of dismembering a human body. Jail records indicate that Bryant was found guilty of the charge and sentenced to 12 years behind bars. Number 4. Alexandra Mendez. Arizona woman Alexandra Mendez was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison for the death of Chris Owen in Glendale. The ordeal unfolded shortly after 6:30 p.m. on December the 19th of 2021, when 29-year-old Owen was riding his bike to work along Northern Avenue. For unknown reasons, 23-year-old Mendez, who was driving her Ford Fusion, subsequently collided with Owen. Upon impact, she immediately fled the scene westbound. Paramedics responded and transported Owen to a local hospital where he later died. According to the police, Mendez had consumed at least 5 alcoholic beverages while at an establishment called Coyote Cabaret shortly before the collision. Nearly a week after the incident, her vehicle was found abandoned in Buckeye. It reportedly had damage consistent with being involved in a car and bicycle collision. On January the 5th, Mendez surrendered to authorities and was jailed. She later pleaded guilty to leaving the scene of a deadly crash. As part of the deal, the prosecutors dropped the manslaughter charge. After Mendez was sentenced, the victim's family told ABC 15 they were aware that people involved in hit-and-run crashes weren't always caught and arrested. Because of that, they were thankful that Mendez was caught at all, but her father apparently wanted harsher punishments for those responsible for hit-and-run crashes and said that they would push for further action. Number 3. Philip G. Harrison. 51-year-old Kentucky man Philip G. Harrison was booked into Louisville Metro Corrections after he allegedly pulled a firearm in an apartment building on River Road, causing residents to abruptly vacate the premises. The incident began in the early hours of January the 9th of 2014 when a woman whom Harrison didn't know apparently knocked on his door for unknown reasons. A verbal fight between the two ensued. At some point, Harrison decided to set off the fire alarm, which caused the residents of the building to panic. Louisville Metro Police responded to the location shortly after 2 a.m. According to the arrest report, Harrison was running around the 3rd floor of the building with his handgun. The report also indicated that he was highly intoxicated and screaming obscenities while standing on his balcony. Harrison was ultimately arrested and charged with wanton endangerment, public intoxication, menacing, and disorderly conduct. Number 2. Brittany Kiefer. On the night of August 9th of 2018, local police in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, responded to a report of a hit-and-run incident along Route 88. Police discovered that a teen named Emma Mae Nolfo, who'd been riding a bicycle without a helmet, was struck by a dark-colored BMW at around 10:30 p.m. The victim was transported to Jersey Shore Medical Center for treatment of a concussion, brain bleeding, and a fractured skull. Fortunately, she would recover after several weeks. It didn't take long for the Point Pleasant Borough Police Department and the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office Vehicular Homicide Unit to realize that 27-year-old Brittany Kiefer was the one that had struck the teen with her vehicle. According to authorities, the victim landed on the windshield of Kiefer's BMW, which Kiefer continued to drive for several feet before the girl rolled off the car. Instead of stopping to help Nolfo or call an ambulance, Kiefer drove away and called a friend, 29-year-old Kyle Ramos, to pick her up a few blocks away. Ramos reportedly assisted Kiefer in hiding the vehicle and attempted to have the vehicle repaired in an effort to hinder the investigation. Ramos and Kiefer turned themselves in a day after the incident. Ramos pleaded guilty to hindering apprehension or prosecution, while Kiefer pleaded guilty to leaving the scene of a major vehicle accident resulting in serious bodily injury. Prosecutors asked the Superior Court judge to lock up Kiefer for up to a year in county jail, but she instead received 50 hours of community service, a year's license suspension, and 3 years of probation during her sentencing in February of 2020. Additionally, she was ordered to pay a $2,500 fine. Kiefer avoided going to jail in part because she'd been suffering from anxiety and mental health issues. Angered by the penalty given to Kiefer, Nolfo's mother said there weren't real consequences for hitting a person with a car and driving away. Subsequent information indicated that Ramos was going to receive his sentence at a later date. However, it never became clear what sentence he received, if any. Number 1. Alicia Marguerite Jones. Alicia Marguerite Jones was arrested in Las Vegas on multiple traffic offenses stemming from a crash that had seriously injured a police traffic officer on December the 21st of 2021. Records indicated that the 22-year-old's vehicle struck the officer as he rode his motorcycle eastbound on Charleston Boulevard near Rainbow Boulevard. Investigators believe that Jones then panicked and immediately drove away from the scene. The officer reportedly suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries, including a broken left collarbone, a broken left tibia and fibula, and a broken left foot and toes. Jones later allegedly went back to the scene and was apprehended at a nearby apartment complex. She claimed to law enforcement that she didn't see the officer when she made the turn. She added that when she saw the officer had fallen to the ground, she frantically left the scene and went back home. She also admitted that she never got out of her vehicle to check on the officer. Jones was then booked at the Clark County Detention Center on charges of failure to stop at the scene of an accident, failure to give information to a party at a vehicle accident, failure to render aid, driving without a valid driver's license, operating a motor vehicle with a suspended license or registration, no proof of insurance, and failure to yield. According to the police, Jones also had an outstanding traffic warrant against her pending in Las Vegas Municipal Court. It is unclear how long she was sentenced to prison for, if at all. Thanks for watching. Would you rather be caught shoplifting or have to stop a shoplifter? Let us know in the comments section below.